As a kid, I loved Doctor Who, the British science fiction TV series broadcast by the BBC. As a bit of a nerd myself, Doctor Who felt a bit like a haven for the nerdy, created by science geeks with authentic quirks and creativity. It was both funny at times as well as a little bit scary, but ultimately it was entertaining. The original writer's genuine weirdness, wit and sci-fi creativity have in many people's opinion been replaced by hollow gloss, focus group keywords, forced inclusiveness and political correctness, which come off as disingenuous, reducing once rich characters to meagre stereotypes distracting from what could be and should be compelling storytelling. I'll get to all that soon. The Doctors I most remember were Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy, probably just because they were around when I was growing up. I also have some memory of the earlier Doctors, I guess because they probably showed a lot of reruns on TV. Doctor Who took a bit of a hiatus in the early 1990s, but there was a Doctor Who television movie in 1996, which I never watched. I think I was too busy with high school. But then in 2005, there was a revival of sorts, with 4 more Doctors taking on the role. I only ever watched a couple of episodes. I guess I had grown out of it a bit. But my friends and colleagues who were keen Whovians generally liked this era of Doctor Who. I believe these 4 Doctors were typically highly regarded among fans of the show. But of course, all good things must come to an end. In 2017, the BBC noticed something a little bit unusual about the casting of these Doctors over the last 36 seasons or so. And I think you can guess what. They were all men. This clear favouritism and inequity couldn't be allowed to go on any longer. The BBC correctly pointed out, ladies can be doctors too, don't you know? So this brings us to our 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, who starred in 3 seasons and a few specials between 2018 and 2022. From what I've heard, she's a fine actor, but there was obviously some backlash casting a female Doctor Who. Why is a female Doctor so hard for men to accept? I find it thrilling. Shocker, not everyone wants a female Doctor Who. Jodie Whittaker doesn't care. Doctor Who casting, Time Lords clash over loss of role model for boys. Basically, former Dr. Peter Davison, although he said Whittaker is a terrific actress who will do a wonderful job, and I hope those who find it hard to adjust will watch with an open mind. He did have his concerns, stating, "If I feel any doubts, it's the loss of a role model for boys who I think Doctor Who is vitally important for. So I feel a bit sad about that, but I understand the argument that you need to open it up. As a viewer, I kind of like the idea of the Doctor as a boy, but then maybe I'm an old-fashioned dinosaur, who knows?" Colin Baker strongly disagreed, stating, "They've had 50 years of having a role model. So sorry, Peter, you're talking rubbish there. Absolute rubbish. You don't have to be of a gender of someone to be a role model. Can't you be a role model as people?" Tom Baker, who portrayed the 4th Doctor, reacted fairly positively to the news. However, he did make one stark warning. "I think it might be quite nice to have a woman, but the BBC need to test it. If the audience don't like it, then just kill her off. Nobody has ever failed, by the way. Nobody has. It's just how it is." According to the ratings database IMDb, of the 13 series since the 2005 revival, the 3rd lowest ranked season was Series 13 with Jodie Whittaker, with an average score of 6.5 out of 10. The 2nd lowest was Series 12 with Jodie Whittaker, with an average score of 6.2. And the lowest ranked season was Series 11 with Jodie Whittaker, with an average score of 6.1, meaning all 3 of Jodie Whittaker's seasons were ranked the lowest of the modern series of Doctor Who. Noting that rankings are based off thousands of reviews. Now, this is not to say that these low rankings were due to Jodie Whittaker. I mean, it could have been poor writing or poor storylines. I don't know. But among fans, these series starring Jodie Whittaker are considered the 3 worst. It was towards the end of Jodie Whittaker's stint as the Doctor that the BBC signed a deal with Disney, meaning all new seasons of the show will stream exclusively on Disney Plus outside the UK and Ireland, ending the 50-year partnership between the BBC and the public broadcaster in Australia, the ABC. This means Whovians outside of the UK would have to fork out a subscription fee to watch the show from 2023 onwards. The 10th Doctor, David Tennant, reprised the role and became the 14th Doctor in 2023, starring in 3 specials to celebrate the programme's 60th anniversary. Now with Disney involved, the show introduced their first ever transgender character, Rose Noble, played by Yasmin Finney, who is also trans. This caused a bit of a stir online, with the BBC social media account hiding tweets that questioned this move, noting the BBC is funded by an annual television licence fee, which is basically charged to all British households and organisations. In one scene, the Doctor interacts with an alien called the Meep, with the Doctor saying, "Yes, the Meep. I promise I can help him get home and then you'll never see me again." Unfortunately for the Doctor, he dared to use the word him, and is quickly scolded by Rose, who says, "You're assuming he as a pronoun? Oh yes, we don't want to upset a fictional space alien with incorrect English grammar." The Doctor replies, "True, yes, sorry, good point. Are you he or she or they?" With the Meep replying, "My chosen pronoun is the definite article. I'm always the Meep." There was also some historically implausible colour-blind casting, with Isaac Newton portrayed by the British Indian actor Nathaniel Curtis. But let's not let historical fact get in the way of modern inclusiveness. We even find the Doctor questioning his sexuality, being asked by Donna, "Was it me or was Isaac Newton hot?" With the Doctor replying, "He was, wasn't he? He was so hot. Oh, is that who I am now?" Donna replies, "Well, it was never that far from the surface, mate." There's also the character of Shirley Ann Bingham, a scientific advisor played by Ruth Madeley, who is a wheelchair user. Speaking of wheelchairs, the character of Davros, a major enemy of the Doctor, used to be wheelchair-bound in the original series, albeit a very futuristic-looking wheelchair, but in the most recent incarnation, he's able-bodied. But why? Executive producer Russell T Davies, who describes himself as absolutely happily left-wing, said it was to avoid contributing to harmful tropes of disabled villains in media. He said, "There's a problem with the Davros of old in that he's a wheelchair user who is evil, and I had problems with that. And a lot of us on the production team had problems with that, of associating disability with evil. And trust me, there's a very long tradition of this. I'm not blaming people in the past at all, but the world changes, and when the world changes, Doctor Who has to change as well. So we made the choice to bring back Davros without the facial scarring and without the wheelchair, or his support unit, which functions as a wheelchair. So now disabled people are losing opportunities because the producers believe it's not appropriate to have evil disabled characters. Surely viewers all understand that Doctor Who is a work of fiction. But this year being the year of super diversity and uber inclusion, the pièce de résistance, as I kind of hinted at the start, is the next incarnation of the Doctor, who turns out to be a different ethnicity, and perhaps a different sexuality, with Rwandan Scottish queer actor, his words, not mine, Ncuti Gatwa, taking on the role of the 15th Doctor. Look, I'm sure he's a good actor, but is this what Doctor Who fans want? Or is this what Disney and the BBC want? I don't know. The series contains a villain by the name of Maestro, played by real-life American drag queen Jinx Monsoon, who has been described by showrunner Russell T Davies as the Doctor's most powerful enemy yet. I know, it sounds like I'm making all this up, but I'm not. But there's more. In the latest episode, Boom, which has been described by some as being the most controversial episode yet, the Doctor travels to a war-torn planet where there are some Christian Marines in the midst of a large-scale war. At one point, the Doctor very pointedly criticises the faith of the Marines, noting that faith is the magic word that keeps you never having to think for yourself. The episode also criticises religion by very explicitly mocking the notion of having thoughts and prayers for others, which is apparently a phrase important to the Anglican Marines. But it doesn't matter what I think. Is the new season popular? Well, according to the reports I've seen, Doctor Who ratings continue to plummet. Latest episode posts worst overnight numbers in franchise history. BBC Doctor Who fans label new series woke and unwatchable as viewer ratings drop. Look, I think there's only one of two ways this can go. Either I'm completely wrong and actually hardcore fans, as well as new fans of the show, love the new super diversity and uber inclusion path that the Doctor is taking, or this season sounds the death knell for Doctor Who as we know it. My feeling is that the once-loved Doctor has been ruined by the BBC's self-righteous pandering and incessant moralising. Gone are the days where we could enjoy Doctor Who as an innocent adventure series. Now they desperately try to please everyone and avoid offence at all cost. Its preachy woke agenda is just resulting in losing viewers and credibility in the process. Unless something drastically changes, Doctor Who is destined for the same fate as other Disney-fied projects, forgotten and axed. Rest in peace, Doctor Who. You were once great, but the BBC has utterly destroyed you.